So our case this week begins in a suburb called Danvers, Massachusetts. And Danvers is actually the new name of this area, which was originally named Salem Village. There was roughly 100 teachers at Danvers High School, and one of them was named Colleen Ritzer. So on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2013, 24-year-old Colleen woke up and went to school to teach like any other day. Colleen's average teaching day would usually end around 2 o'clock, and at this point, she would stay after school and meet with some students who needed a little bit of extra help, sort of like a tutor session. Around 2:54 this day, Colleen Ritzer left her classroom of students and made her way to the bathroom. It was during this time at soccer practice, the soccer coach actually noticed he had a player who was skipping out on practice. That player was 14-year-old Philip Chisholm. As the day kind of moved on and after school time turned into dinner time, Philip was still nowhere to be seen. His mother, Diana, began frantically waiting at her phone for a call and checking the clock. Diana called the local police at 6:34 p.m. to report her son, Philip Chisholm, missing. But Diana was not the only parent around town worrying about their child's whereabouts. Peggy and Tom Ritzer were a little worried around dinner time when Colleen wouldn't answer her phone. Tom Ritzer decided to head over to Danvers High School and see if he could find his daughter Colleen.
So the teacher lived with
her parents.
As
he drove up to the parking lot of the school, he noticed Colleen's car in the lot and felt relieved. She was just still at the school, probably working. Tom checked the school but couldn't find Colleen inside the school. He asked around, had anyone seen Miss Ritzer? And no one had. All of Colleen's friends said they hadn't heard or seen her. Tom and Peggy decided to call the cops and report their 24-year-old daughter, Colleen Ritzer, missing. People began to put together that Colleen Ritzer actually taught Philip Chisholm, and Philip had been in the last class Colleen had attended that day, the tutor session class for the kids that needed extra help, remember?
Got it.
So police decided to try and trace Philip's cell phone, and they discovered, to their relief, that it's on. And it's pinging near a movie theater in Danvers. So police rushed to the movie theater and they searched the theaters. No Philip. But they interview the employees and discover that Philip had in fact been to the theater around 4:30 p.m. that day. And the employees and the cameras show that he was alone. Meanwhile, police back at the school begin searching the camera footage from that day in hopes of tracing both Colleen and Philip until the time they went missing.
So like I was going to ask, like always, where's the cameras?
People and police begin searching classrooms and bathrooms near Miss Ritzer's homeroom, hoping, okay, well, maybe she's just here. It was during this search that police canvassed the bathroom nearest the classroom and discovered what they determined to be blood smears in the bathroom. So police outside also discovered an empty purse laying on the ground kind of near the school and positively identified it as Colleen Ritzer's.
Okay.
But all of the belongings inside the purse were missing. They also found some clothes strewn about around the purse and 2 pairs of shoes. One pair of women's like black flats and a pair of soccer cleats. It was after this that police discovered a recycle bin like in the middle of the woods by the school that had a pair of bloody gloves near it. And then a note nearby all of this that said, "I hate you all." Back at the search for Philip around 1 a.m., he was found walking on a sidewalk in Topsfield. He was found in a hoodie wearing a drawstring backpack. Police discovered a box cutter, a pair of bloody women's underwear, and all of the contents of his teacher, Colleen Ritzer's purse. Philip told them that he had broke into her car at a gas station and stole them. Police are like, okay, what about the box cutter, the blood, and the underwear?
Yeah.
Like, where did those come from? And Philip replies with, the girl. In the early hours of the next morning, police had discovered the unimaginable. Underneath some leaves, Colleen Ritzer's dead body was found near the high school. Colleen was naked from the waist down and left in a suggestive pose. And Philip Chisholm's ID was found in his school backpack near the body. So according to Catherine Q. Seeley with the New York Times, at 2:54 p.m. that day, you can see Miss Ritzer happily exit her classroom and walk down a hallway towards the women's bathroom, like we said. Literally seconds after her, you can see Philip Chisholm step out of the classroom and into the hallway. Just a moment later, he reopens the door and comes back out into the hallway, this time with his hood on. There is footage of Miss Ritzer right after this, like in the same minute, passing the drinking fountain that sits in between the men and women's bathrooms. And a minute later, Philip walks with his head down along the same path that Miss Ritzer had just took. And as he comes into the frame outside of the bathroom door, you can see him pulling on rubber gloves. At 3:07 p.m., another female student moves into a frame outside of the bathroom in front of the drinking fountain, and she actually opens the women's bathroom door. Then she immediately turns around and leaves. Like, she opens it, doesn't even walk in, closes the door, turns around and leaves.
What?
I'm pretty sure the door doesn't even close all the way. You can see Philip exiting the bathroom door, and you can tell that he is clearly uncomfortable. He's adjusting his clothes and he's like almost running. He's like running out of the bathroom. He had just stalked his teacher, Colleen Ritzer, into the women's bathroom in the middle of the day and came up behind her in that bathroom and choked her. He then stabbed her at least 16 times in the neck and slit her throat with that box cutter.
Holy crap.
So once she was down, Philip had sexually assaulted her and he was just pulling his pants up when the other student opened the door and all she saw was his butt.
Oh, okay.
And seemingly caught, he rushed out of the bathroom after her, not wanting to be near the scene. If she was going to go tell someone, he was getting out of there. At this point, Philip then made his way outside to the student parking lot. And there's footage where you can actually see his hand covered in blood as he's walking down the stairs. At 3:09, 2 minutes later, he comes back into the school, this time without his blue hoodie. He made his way back to Miss Ritzer's classroom and then is seen on the cameras coming out the door again at 3:11 with a red hoodie on now. He goes somewhere and then emerges back into the camera view with a recycling bin at this point. 6 minutes later at 3:22 p.m., Philip exits the women's bathroom in a white t-shirt again. He makes it to the elevator and then pulls it outside, and that's obviously where we lose frame. While outside, Philip, takes the bin to the woods, gets Colleen out, and does some more unthinkable things to Colleen. He also posed her, obviously, and then left the note. Around 30 minutes later, the video catches him coming back into the high school. So he spends another 30 minutes in the woods with her body or her.
Writes the note and then
does what he does.
Comes back in the high school.
Awful. By 4:04, he's now wearing a black shirt. He's changed once again. He has glasses on and he's carrying a pair of jeans and then leaves the school for good 1 minute later.
So how many times has he changed now?
Three?
Oh.
3 or 4 times though.
Okay.
In 2015, Philip Chisholm was tried as an adult after attacking another woman guard while waiting for trial. So this new lady he attacked was saved after other guards heard the commotion and came in to check it out. And it's kind of weird because it's eerily familiar to his first attack on Colleen. He's in prison for doing what he did to Colleen and then follows another woman in somewhere and tries to attack her again.
That's weird.
The jury found him guilty and he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. A student would later come forward to police that before Philip stalked Miss Ritzer out of class that gruesome day, she had actually been in the tutor class with both of them and observed Colleen and Philip talking about China. Apparently, Miss Ritzer then mentioned Tennessee, where Philip had moved from, and Philip became visibly upset. According to police, they believe that the crime was planned because he showed up to school that day with a box cutter, a ski mask, gloves, and multiple outfits.
That's true.
You don't get triggered in school and then just have a kill kit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're like, no, he planned this. And I will say this, the only person who had the power in that bathroom over what was happening was Philip.
Yep.
And despite what his defense said, he's not the victim here.
Yep.
There was nothing that happened that could make him do this. Colleen only got 2 years of teaching, which was her dream, and she only got to do it.
She was 24. She was so young.
She only got to do it for 2 years. So in memory of Colleen, whose legacy was to be a kind and inspiring woman, we will remember her and think about her.
Poor Colleen. That's crazy.
Insane.
That is so insane.